Hey guys, Aniso here, and in today's video we will check out the most recent changes for IO and why he is probably one of the best supports to play this patch. So the first change for IO is that he is now a universal hero, which means he has no primary attribute anymore, but he now gets 0.6 damage for each attribute that he buys, resulting in all stats providing more damage than before. IO also lost 6 base damage on level 1, which doesn't feel great, but to compensate for that, we gain a lot more damage, being 0.9 per level, which means IO now actually scales way better in the mid and late game in terms of right-click damage. With the new change of being a universal hero and gaining more right-click damage from all stats and having more damage gain per level, IO now actually deals a ton of damage with right clicks, especially combined with overcharge. There's also a new upgrade for the Aghanim Scepter. It still spawns the spirits as it used to do, but you can now press the spawn spirits button again to instantly explode all your spirits and deal all their exploding damage. I think this is very great if you're playing core IO, and maybe if you're playing Pros 4 and you go for a spirits build, because this allows you to do way more burst damage without actually needing to hit every single spirit by themselves. But it also lets you farm creeps way more. Like you can just walk into a neutral camp or a creep wave and you can explode the spirits. This gives IO way better farm potential when buying the eggs. Usually as a support IO you don't buy the Aghanims that often, but for core IOs this is a great change. So now for the general things that affect IO, which is actually why he is such a great hero right now. The first thing is the change to region. All of the region items, being salves, tangos, clarity and mangoes, now are not available unlimited anymore. All of them have a max stock, same as like sentries and smokes before, and they have a restock time of 2 minutes. So you cannot buy unlimited region anymore in the early game, which means IO providing more region in terms of like headdress and tether to their partner, and also providing more region from tangos that he uses himself. You would just outtrade the enemies way better than you used to. And this is how IO wins lanes, by outtrading enemies with region. Speaking of region, probably one of the biggest buffs to IO is the new Lotus pools that are right next to the safe lane and the off lane, which will provide a healing Lotus every 3 minutes that you can pick up, which is a consumable, kinda like a mini version of a cheese from Roshan that will restore HP and mana, which obviously also restores it through tether to your tethered partner. You can combine more of those Lotuses in the mid and late game to have even greater healing and mana values, which is just so crazy. It's like having another healing such as Mechanism or Holy Locket just by picking those things up. This is probably one of the biggest buffs to IO. So if you're playing IO, make sure you consistently pick them up. You can even use Relocate to pick them up if you want to. We also got a new change to neutral items, which will allow you to get a neutral token that you can choose out of 5 random neutral items of that tier. Since there are not too many items at the tier 1, usually you will get a shovel in most of your games, and the shovel is just such a great item for IO, which will allow you to dig up more mangoes, more healing salves, and additional bounty runes for your team members. We also got a few changes to the Holy Locket. It no longer provides bonus health and bonus mana, but instead it provides more all stats. Before it used to provide +3, now it's +10 to all stats, and with the fact that IO is now a universal hero, this will provide +18 damage for ourselves. So, which is quite a lot, considering the fact that we also have more damage per level. IO now deals a lot of right click damage once we get the Holy Locket. There's also a lot of changes to the map. The map is now way bigger than it used to be, which means that enemies have to split themselves up way more than before. Which is pretty good for IO, because you have Relocate. You can just be at any place at the map all the time if you need to and bring an ally. So ganking enemies that are separated is way more easy than it used to be. Lastly, there's the 2 Tormentor mini-bosses behind the offlane areas that will spawn at 20 minutes. They will provide an additional Aghanim's shard for one of the 2 lowest net worth heroes, which most of the time is you and the other support hero. So there's a 50% chance of you getting the shard, which the IO shard is very great. And also, IO is just generally pretty good at taking this. The Tormentors themselves reflect the damage and they split them between all the people being there. So you bringing more people will result in everyone losing less HP. I've noticed that in a lot of games there's one guy that is just farming and not coming to the Tormentors. You can just go to them and relocate them there, which I think is great. So if your teammates are stupid and they just want to farm, you can relocate them there and then take it with them together. Also, you can heal up your teammates with the mechanisms, the holy lockets, and also the new healing lotuses, just so they won't die while taking the Tormentor. In general, all the changes to the regions, to the map, to the consumables, and also with the Aghanim's shard, and IO having more damage in the mid and late game and being a universal hero now, I feel like they are just way too good for this hero. Like, I haven't lost a single game this patch. I've won all 5 games I've played, and I feel like this hero is so busted. Like, none of the games were even close. It is so crazy how much you can keep your teammates alive with the Lotus pools and like the consumables they drop, and just the relocates on a new map. Like, I just think this hero is so good. If you want to learn IO, this is the time. Like, go for it right now. He's one of the best supports by far.